Hello, everyone. I'm Ann Tran, chair of the AIA Nova Communications Committee and a member of the AIA Nova Board of Directors. And today, I'm excited to introduce Carol Rickard-Brideau, the new CEO of Little. As you may know, it's Women's History Month, which is a great excuse for getting some very busy female leaders to tell us more about themselves and learn about more diverse ways to practice and shape your life as an architect. It's been a privilege for me to call Carol a mentor and a friend, maybe not so much for her. And now she's my ultimate boss. She's a graduate of both Catholic University School of Architecture and Virginia Tech's WAC, yay WAC, has worked in all kinds of different projects and held roles from project manager to global practice leader to office president on her way to CEO, and is now focused on really integrating wellness into our experience of the built environment. So without further ado, Carol, AIA Nova would love to take a few minutes of your time to pose a few questions. So I guess we'll get started with one that I'm sure is top of mind right now for a lot of people who are contemplating their career path in design. It's really like, what advice do you have for women in architecture who have a goal of becoming some kind of leader, whether it's, a practice leader or a partner or office president in their firms?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be talking with everybody in Northern Virginia AI and beyond. But what I would say is this. I would say that it's really important to understand what you really want to do and what you want out of your career. A lot of people feel like leadership is just the next step. And that's not really a good reason to want to be a leader. You have to be really devoted and passionate about what you're doing in order to really enjoy it. And life is too short not to enjoy what you're doing. So I would say this. I would say find the things that you're interested in or find the things that you want to get better at and work on those things. If you keep taking incremental steps and increasing your responsibility and increasing your learning, I think you'll find yourself in a position where you're being considered for leadership. I was lucky that our founder, Bill Little, was just a really amazing guy, but would put me in situations where I was able to ask myself, what can I do to help? What can I do to add to this equation? What can I do to make it better for the team or the clients or the people that we're designing for? And I think if you ask that type of question, you're focused on more maybe on the correct thing. And then I think as you increase in that responsibility and you grow in your capabilities, I think those things get noticed. If they don't, then I think it's always a good thing to ask for what you want. If you decided that leadership is what you really want to be, or you want to try to lead a group or lead a team, there are different steps in leadership. There are different levels in leadership. So ask for a little bit more responsibility in what you're doing, maybe for a client relationship or to lead a project or lead a design. So as long as you're asking for those things that you realize that you want, I think you'll find yourself taking those steps to becoming a stronger and a better leader.
Awesome. Do you think, that's a lot about intention, right? Like, and about like really shaping it.
Yeah.
As Bob Ross would say, were there any sort of happy accidents in your career that you sort of kind
Heck
of
yeah.
discovered something that you really felt a passion for after you were exposed to it?
Absolutely. And a lot of times I feel, and I would say just half jokingly, my whole career is a happy accident. But I realize looking back, there is some intentionality. There is a point when you're very young in your career, or at least for me, I had no idea what I wanted. I was blown away that somebody would pay me money to come in and work in their firm when I knew nothing. So, but that changes, as you get more experience. I've almost been doing this for 40 years. So goodness knows at this point, I should know what I want. But yeah, I definitely think that there are many opportunities that will happen to you along your career path. Keep your eyes open for those opportunities and say yes. Find a way to say yes. I think the challenge as you get into your career and you have more responsibilities is you also have to find a way to say no at a certain point, because then if you say yes, only yes all the time, you may find yourself suffering. But absolutely, there are a lot of happy accidents. There are a lot of people that want to see you succeed as well around you. And I think, especially if you ask for things or say, I'm looking for this kind of experience or this kind of opportunity, if you see something like that, would you mind letting me know? People, I think, will go out of their way to find ways to help.
That's some pretty good advice. So with that in mind, though, are there things that you wish somebody had said to you earlier in your career as you move forward, or that you had known just like a little bit more strategically early in your progression?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and I've noticed this may be a gender-based thing to say, but I think I've noticed a lot of women have a hard time embracing the power that they do have in their equation. And I think that if I would have changed anything, it would have been to recognize my worth earlier on. Everyone, again, I talked about being self-aware. You need to know what you're good at and what you're not good at. And everybody's good at something and not good at something. So there's no shame in not being good at everything. No one's good at everything. But understand the ability to move the needle that you do have wherever you are, whatever situation you are, and do it. I think that's the advice that if I could go back and give that to myself, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I would have benefited from that.
Know your worth. That's definitely something that people really underestimate, like that self-awareness and like the shortcomings, but also positives, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, so part of that question too, I think, is that you've always been really involved in the community around you. You've done mentoring, you mentor lots of people outside of the firm, you mentor people across the industry, but you've also been involved in AIA as part of this effort, right? And I assume that you found that to be something that was part of that drive, but did you also find that your participation in AIA helped you develop the leadership skills you needed to sort of shape things as you grew?
Yeah, I definitely do. I really got heavily involved in Northern Virginia AIA maybe about 25 years ago. And I really got into it just to sort of see who won design awards and how. So it was a little bit of a sneaky motive, to be honest with you, but it's paid back, tenfold, 20-fold by that at this point. I got into the design award committee and was on that for maybe 7 years. And I did part of communications committee for a while. I ended up stepping onto the leadership ladder and doing the whole sort of executive secretary, treasurer, president-elect president, and then past president. I also got involved in AIA Virginia. I was on the board of directors there for a number of years. So ultimately, I think I was on the board of directors at Northern Virginia for maybe 12 years. And then on the state board for maybe 6 or 8 years. But what I found was that what I started, with a single goal in mind, I quickly realized that I was creating a network. And I think it's really important for everybody to have multiple networks. So I would say one of the things that helped me a great deal about being involved in AIA was that I had these networks of peers. I've met with, somebody for lunch the day before yesterday, someone that I did design awards with, those many years ago. And they're people that create opportunities for you. If you're talking with them, they're talking with you, they understand what you're looking into, what you're interested in, and they help you kind of reach out and find those opportunities as well. So definitely for me, AIA has been nothing but positive. Now I'm involved with the Large Firm Roundtable, which is a national group that's associated with the AIA, where we all get together, all the CEOs of the 60 largest firms in the country, and talk about issues regarding practice. And the benefit that I get from people in AIA is extraordinary. I mean, I'm standing on their shoulders. I'm somebody who can take advantage of their experiences and their opinions and their ideas in a way that help me further my career and myself as well as the firm.
It's an awesome plug for AIA, to be honest, but being cognizant of the fact that you are probably pretty slammed, I want to just thank you for your time and these quick tidbits. So for everybody out there who's watching, hopefully you found something useful that can help to inform the conversations that you have with your peers and your mentors, because that's the thing, right? Like we have a responsibility to ourselves and to each other to sort of have these conversations and be sort of open about them so we can shape something better for practice for all of us. So thank you so much, Carol, for taking the time. And remember, for everybody, AIA Nova is here to offer you community and networking, regardless of whether or not you're an active member. So stay tuned for some great conversations coming out of Women in Architecture and for Women's History Month. But March is not the only month in which we should celebrate lady leaders. So keep that in mind, that there are awesome leaders like Carol Rickard, who you can look up to and who you can sort of examine their career paths and sort of think about how it shapes your own. So thank you again. I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.